is Don Quixote the most famous incel in literature? Now, think about this. He's a wealthy old man in the early 1600s with no wife or children. How was that actually possible? Because in our day and age, if you met a wealthy 50-year-old man without any wife or kids, that'd be a little bit strange, and you'd be a little bit curious about that as well. In Cervantes' time, it'd be very weird. A 50-year-old hidalgo, wealthy enough to live off of his land, enough to support his niece and housekeeper, but without a wife or child, definitely suggests something a little bit off. And then what happens to him? Well, in his solitude, he mass consumes content of outdated gender roles and how men and women are supposed to be. And then he goes out into the world and causes real damage to the lives and to the properties of others. Now, compare this to Netflix's adolescence TV show, and you could perhaps see some overlap. Now, that's one way to read the book, but it's not really the one that I find the most interesting. What does resonate with me the most is the idea that we are all Don Quixote. Not that we're all incels, but that we all have mass consumed some kind of content that has framed our understanding of the world, and we interface with others based on our media diet. People who are addicted to the news and care about what the government is doing, they see monsters all around them and danger in their neighbors, and they think that the world is a battlefield. But that's more of a reflection of who they are as people rather than what the world is actually like. And there's no one true way to see the world objectively. None of us have it. Your worldview is not as accurate as you want to believe. And even as I say this, just like Don Quixote, when he was questioned about his worldview and challenged about it, he would get very pissy about it. And if I were to question your liberal views, or your conservative views, or your religious, or your feminist, or your psychological, or your environmentalist views, or your views on ADHD, I got somebody very angry at me in the comments right now because of what I said about ADHD. Or if I were to question any position that you have, there's a good chance that you're not going to handle it with grace. Don Quixote doesn't, and I don't think you will either. But what's amazing about satire is that we see it as a mirror for the world because it tells us what everyone else is like, but we rarely ever see it as a mirror of ourselves. It's kind of like those Westworld robots when they're shown their true nature and they say, yeah, I don't see anything. Now, Cervantes published at the same time as Shakespeare, which is wild in and of itself. And Cervantes was a playwright as well, even though that's not what he's really known for. And both Shakespeare and Cervantes know that all the world's a stage, and all of us are just players on that stage. There's no truth behind the roles that we play. There's no true self behind the mask. There's no authentic self. There's only the mask. Now, where I connect with Cervantes and Don Quixote is that you kind of have to take a mask anyways. You can't not take a mask. And you have to play that role with all of your heart and soul. You have to live out your fantasies to the fullest, just like the madman Don Quixote does in his own way. He bases his identity off of outdated texts, and my friends, so do you. I mean, how often do you update your worldview? Probably not often enough. The saddest part of the book for me is that the man who thought that he was helping Don Quixote, the bachelor who goes there for Don Quixote's own good, he defeats Don Quixote and forces him to stop being a knight errant. And this directly leads to his death. If Don Quixote would have been left to his own devices without the bachelor interfering, he'd probably still be living a rich and fulfilling life, surrounded by people who love his passion and who admire him for his stories, even if they disagree with his lifestyle. The bachelor took that from him, and Don Quixote didn't really have much motivating him to keep moving forward. And I found that really sad. At the same time, I found the end of the first part of the book so revealing. So the canon is speaking with Don Quixote and questioning him about his reading. And he suggests that all of the silliness that he read about knights and giants, that's all bullshit. And my friend, if you really want to know about knights and giants, then read what the Bible says about them. Because the Bible, yeah, that's true. The other books, no, they're fake. But the Bible, the Bible's so true. Oof. I wonder if Cervantes was secretly atheistic. because he's essentially questioning if we should base our lives off of what we read. The priest is his own kind of version of Don Quixote in a way, because he reads one book, the Bible, and he decides to dress funny and to perform these weird rituals based off that book for the rest of his life. Now, Cervantes doesn't question that outright because the Holy Inquisition would feed him his balls for it, but the subtext is there. All of our literary influences are bullshit, but we still have to pick something and live it through and through with all of our hearts and souls. Wow, sure, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. So I've lately been obsessed with, let me show you this, I built a reading app to help me with my reading instead. So this is called Reading Rate. It even has an Apple Watch app. And it just got published to the App Store this week. So if you're into reading as much as I am, and you want to have a better way to save your ideas and quotes and anything that stands out to you when you're reading, then give my app a shot. That's all I'm obsessed with lately. I pretty much spend all day working on it and then all night reading books and just testing out its features. I'd love for you to give it a shot as well, and for you to let me know how I can make this app better for you, because I love it myself, and I hope that I could give that to you as well. And now I'm on to reading some literary criticism. Eric Auerbach's Mimesis, which is the representation of reality. Reality, what the fuck is that in Western literature? If you can't tell, I'm kind of an anti-realist. I don't believe that anybody has access to reality, and anyone who does is kind of dangerous. So we're gonna see how this lands. I'm really interested in starting to read books about books. I wanna be a better reader, and I know that if I wanna be a better runner, I gotta watch other runners. If I wanna be a better musician, I gotta learn from other musicians. And if I wanna be a better reader, I gotta kind of follow what famous readers have done. Even if I don't agree with them, at least learn what they're doing. So I'm incorporating some more literary criticism in my life. And now that I'm done this video, thanks for watching. Let me get back to reading. See you soon.